You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Ahoy, mateys! Good Saturday morning. It's the 21st of July. Glad you are locked in with us here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. I am Matt Hatfield.
I'm the coach, Ed Young.
Donning a Virginia t-shirt today. You're on the UVA payroll now, huh?
Well, I don't know about payroll, but support Virginia basketball in any shape, form, high school, college, or pro. But
you should support our state, absolutely. And
can Virginia ever support a pro NBA basketball team somewhere in Virginia? I know back in the day.
Doubtful.
Back in the
They're saying Richmond's going to get a team now, but I'll believe it when I see it. Or I shouldn't say they're going to get a team. They're saying it's in the works to get a team, but I'll believe it when I see it. We've heard that for like 25 years, how the NBA team was coming to Norfolk, and that has never transpired. So
yeah,
it hasn't even gotten to phase 3, let alone phase 4 and 5. So
I don't see the 757 getting I don't see a 757 getting an NBA, NFL, or Major League Baseball team.
I would concur, sadly. I would hope we would. When people think when you say that you don't want it. That's not necessarily the case. We're just
I'd love to have all three. How about Charlotte has all
That's your second favorite city, or home away from home.
That's my home away
from home. They just made the short list for the Major League Baseball potential
Charlotte
expansion.
Did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner had a list of 6 cities that he thought they might expand to in the future.
Well, the other 5.
I think Portland was on there. There are a couple places in Canada, but yeah, they were kind of tossed all over the United States.
We've only got one Canadian team right now with Toronto. They used to have Montreal with the Expos. NBA's got one with the Toronto Raptors, who now have Kawhi Leonard, and the NFL does not have a Canadian. I'm surprised the NFL hasn't gotten a team in north of the border there.
I wonder if that's because of the CFL.
It could be.
You know, because I would think Montreal or Toronto can easily
host Has Ed Young been north of the border or south of the border? Which do you prefer?
I have not been either.
Okay.
Mexico scares me a little. And Canada, I want to take a trip to Toronto. I hear Toronto is a great place to be.
I've been to Niagara Falls. I don't know if that counts or not. Does that count?
No, you're waffling. You're in between.
I'm a waffler like you?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're a pancake guy. My bad. You're right.
Yeah, I love me some pancake now. Love me some pancake.
Well, Thomas Simmons is back in the saddle. Glad to have you here. We had Kyle Hightower fill in admirably for him last week. But Thomas was on assignment last week, and one of his assignments was, earlier this month, the Young Stars basketball camp was a smashing success. Is that fair characterization?
Yeah,
smashing success?
The kids broke a few things.
All right, It was a smashing success. So it was Thomas's, one of his duties, among his many duties, was to go out and get some feedback from some of the youngsters at the Young Stars camp. Now, due to the new child privacy law, well, I don't know if there's such a thing, but we're going to say there is. We didn't get the names of these youngsters, but we did get a couple of feedback items from a couple. And here's youngster number 1 that Thomas caught up with, what he thought about Ed Young and the Young Stars basketball camp. Let's see what he had to tell us.
Ed Young is crazy.
Whoa, Ed Young is crazy. That's all he had to say. Your reaction?
I remember that kid. I think that was a 3rd grader from Driver Elementary.
Oh, okay. Is he in your zone or not in your zone?
Yeah, he's in our zone. I like that kid.
Well, we got another kid. Here's what he had to tell us about Ed Young, what he thought of him.
Dude, Ed Young's too kind of crazy.
Too kind of crazy. Not one kind of crazy.
What's
the difference between 2 kinds of crazy and 1 kind of crazy?
That was a 3rd grader who drove me crazy. All they wanted to know was what time is lunch. He walked in the morning, put his bag down and said, "Is it lunchtime yet?" Dude, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Did you have breakfast? No, I don't eat breakfast. I just eat lunch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that kid's not in my zone.
Not in your zone.
And I hope he stays out of my zone.
You might be playing him one day.
No, that kid's not a basketball player.
So there you go. Good work, Thomas. He was able to uncover a couple of
a couple of them youngsters. Good. Yeah, it was good.
That's working hard to find those youngsters out there. So the phone lines are open if you want to talk to us, and we got a jam-packed show. Give us a buzz at 757-687-9494. Light them up, 757-687-9494. I don't think we'll give out one of the Phil Steele books today. We got one more remaining. We gave one out last week. I think we're going to give another one out probably either next week or week after. We might be on the road next week at Virginia Wesleyan for team camp. So
I hope so. We've been there the last couple of years. Come on now. Powers to be.
We're hoping to be. Well, you got to be there anyway for your team at some point. But we might be on the road. So we might save it for the first week of August. Let the people get a little closer to salivate for the football season. We do have some guests this morning. Scheduled to join us at about 10:30 or so. It'll be next segment. We'll be chatting with Carlos Martinez. He is the new head football coach of the First Colonial Patriots, who was previously an assistant at Tallwood in Virginia Beach. So he stays in the Beach District coaching.
I thought he pitched for the Cardinals.
And that's a different Carlos Martinez. You can ask him if they're related. Or does he ever get confused with that Carlos Martinez? Sometimes, like we said before, people with the same name, like my uncle Ken Hatfield, the jazz musician, gets confused with the former Rice and Air Force coach Ken Hatfield. And you get confused as Ed Young with the preacher Ed Young, and you do preach a lot. It might not always be on the same topics that Ed Young preaches on, but
I've been thinking about transitioning to the preaching field.
Maybe y'all should do a swap switch there, where he does the host of the show with me one day, and you do preaching on Sunday morning.
I wouldn't mind that. I'd like to try.
You wouldn't mind that? You have the attire, that's for sure. I saw on the HS Sports Talk 941 Twitter sphere too that rumor has it, maybe Thomas can find it up there too on HS Sports Talk 941, that Robert De Niro has turned down a movie role in Casino 2, and you are one of the leading candidates for Casino 2, which was a good Casino 1. I hear was a good movie, but I don't know if it's going to be called Casino 2. I heard it might be Casino 2.5 or Casino 2.0 ... or something. I don't know what the exact title is, but it's basically the sequel, if you will.
I would do that.
You would do that.
I went to a play last night in Portsmouth. I want to be in a play.
You want to be in a play or a movie?
I want to be in a play, movie. I'll take either one.
There's a big difference between a play and a movie.
I'll do either one.
All right.
Now, I don't want to do the script. I got to ad-lib. Okay, I got to ad-lib off the other people. I mean,
that could go badly in a lot of ways if we let you ad-lib the whole thing.
I'll use the script as guidance, but I've got to do my own thing.
Is this taped or live? Because if we let you ad-lib live, that can go in a lot of different directions that don't end well for you or the audience. Or
it would end well for everybody involved because I understand what my role is.
Well, I would suggest probably the movie would be better than the play, because then they can say cut. They might have a lot of cuts with you.
I'd like to try it though.
Okay.
Anybody out there that's getting ready to make a movie or play, I'm available, and I come somewhat cheap.
Okay, so we'll be talking with Carlos Martinez, not the pitcher, but the head football coach of the Tallwood Lions. Of the First Colonial Patriots. Goodness, he was at Tallwood as an assistant. First Colonial Patriots. Carlos Martinez will join us at 10:30. He was with John Keppel, who's still the head football coach at Tallwood. After that, we are scheduled to talk with Mike Murphy. He is the head football coach of the Jamestown Eagles. Year one at the helm. He was previously an assistant with the Gloucester Dukes, so we'll chat with him. That's coming up at about 10:45 or so. And then the 11 o'clock hour, around 11:25, we're scheduled to hear from Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the NL West leading Dodgers, and reigning National League champion Dodgers out of Cox High School in Virginia Beach, the utility man who's played outfield, he's played shortstop, he's played second base, he's been all over the place. And, of course, the Dodgers picked up Manny Machado this past week, which our buddy Tim Kirchin we had on last week sort of hinted that may happen.
He had a good debut last week, on base all 4 times, and it's interesting he selected number 8 in honor of, I guess, Kobe Bryant.
Well, Kobe wore 24 and 8. I'm not sure if that's why he chose 8, but
I think I saw that somewhere.
Is that what they said it was because of Kobe? It could be right.
13 is being worn by Max Muncy.
Max Muncy, okay.
All-Star Max Muncy.
Yeah, and he was one of the guys lasering him out in the home run derby on Monday that Bryce Harper won. But last night, 2 hits for Taylor. So we'll hopefully hear from Chris Taylor. We've been efforting him for months. We had him in May. There was a rain delay, a doubleheader. We had to reschedule. So hopefully the weather cooperates in Milwaukee and nothing, knock on wood, transpires to prevent us from chatting with him here after the All-Star break here. And they're also on the this part of the country, not so much central, but, well, yeah, kind of. They're in Atlanta, I believe, next weekend, LA is. So they're in Milwaukee this weekend and Atlanta next weekend. So we'll chat with Chris Taylor. And phone lines are open again all morning long. You want to talk to us, give us a holler at 757-687-9494, 757-687-9494. 94, as I see Ed Young's favorite football coach of the Oakland Raiders on TV, John Gruden. Soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders. Soon to have games called by one Brent Musburger.
I saw that. Nice to see Brett coming on back.
Yep, used to be with CBS Sports and also ESPN, and now he's with that VSIN, Vegas Sports Network. So there you go. 757-687-9494 will get you in here. For $500, Ed, who's our first caller of the morning?
Easy money. The money man himself. Keith.
Oh, no, it's Fred in Portsmouth. No, I'm playing. It's Keith in Smithfield. What's going on, Keith?
How you doing, man? How you doing, Adrian? How you doing?
Good morning, Keith.
You were worried, Keith. You thought we really had Fred in Portsmouth beat you, didn't you?
Yeah, I was worried. I thought Ed gonna win the money.
Ed won the money. He's $500 richer.
Yes, sir. And couple of days I'll be out of town. The first week in August I will be out of town.
Where are you going?
I'm going to downtown Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
And I'll be live out at training camp in Atlanta. See the Falcons training camp.
Live in training camp. So you have to give us a live report from training camp to let us know how the Falcons look. The
Yes,
Falcons minus Leroy Reynolds, who's now with Thomas's Eagles.
Yes, sir. I'm going to talk to Julio Jones and a couple of guys. I'm going to talk to them. And also, I'm going to be going back up there September 17 in Atlanta, September 17 to see the Cowboys and the Falcons.
The Cowboys and the Falcons.
Cowboys your team, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fair. Now, you're going down there actually for family first and foremost.
Yes, sir. I'm going to see my grandmama.
That's right. That's what we figured. And then get a little bit of sightseeing while you're down there.
Yes, sir. And then if I come back again, I'm going to watch the game. And I'm going to the Dome. Mercedes-Benz, I ain't never been there. It'll be the first time I'm going there.
I'll have to give you a couple places to go to in the after hours, but I can't say it on air.
No, don't do that. Not Keith. We want Keith to come back in one piece, please.
Hey, he'll come back in one piece, all right.
Yes, sir. I'll be back in one piece. I don't want nothing to happen.
All right, good.
And also another thing, the Duke Blue Devils got a tour to Canada. They got like Kansas did a couple years ago. They're going on tour. They're gonna be playing some basketball
in Canada.
Yeah, they're gonna be like a tour, like college do it every year, like Kansas Jayhawk did.
Yeah, a lot of teams do that. They'll go up there and play probably 3 games, winning by an average of 29, 39 points a game. But it's and get their younger kids involved in the before the season starts. I think they do that in early October, correct?
I think Duke start theirs in August, coming next month.
Okay, so they're taking the extra early trip. Yeah,
Yes,
that's kind of nice to be able to get those incoming freshmen some games real quick, and then do some sightseeing and all that too. But it'll be blowout city.
Yes, sir. I got one more thing, Al.
What you got?
I'm looking at the schedule for Phoebus. They come out the gate playing Heritage. I will be there September 1st at Dollar Stadium.
Yeah, it's on a Saturday, right?
Yeah, on the Saturday, 2:00. Then
I might be there as well. I'll have to see if I can take that one in.
Then the following week, Lake Taylor got a tough one. The rematch coming here.
Yeah, we talked about that in our
Taylor.
top 10 games. I don't know if you check it out if you're on YouTube, and I know you're a YouTube guy, Keith. Go up there on YouTube and watch the High School Sports Talk Plus. We also got it on VirginiaPreps.com. Ed Young and I did our top 10 games to watch for this coming season. We ranked them all. Or we didn't rank them all. We listed them all going from beginning of the season to the end. Even Ed threw in a couple bonus games. It's about 28 minutes long. Go check it out. High School Sports Talk Plus. We'll be doing another one in August outlining our players of the year in each of the 5 districts in the area: Bay Rivers, Peninsula, Southeastern, Eastern, and the Beach.
Yes, sir. And last thing, I'm thinking of going to the Lake Taylor and Phoebus game. That's on Thursday night game. I think Lake Taylor can. I ain't see Phoebus yet. I think Lake Taylor might edge them this year.
Ooh. Yeah, you could be right about that. I think that's a toss-up game this year, Keith. They've had some great battles over the year. Phoebus got them last year. Phoebus just finished in 3rd in the very competitive Powerade 7-on-7 tournament down there in Carolina last weekend. Lake Taylor won the Elizabeth City Northeastern 7-on-7, so they both have done well in 7-on-7, but as Ed can attest to, neither one of them's known for being 7-on-7 type teams. They're physical, hit you in the mouth, rock'em sock'em type teams. It'll be great line play both sides in that game.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a nice day, rainy day.
All right, go get your car washed, Keith, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, Keith.
Ed, you go get your car washed today?
Got it washed yesterday, ahead of the rain.
Ahead of the rain? You just, all you do is put it out there and it'll get washed.
And, of course, I don't know. I must have had a rough night. I left the window half down
Oh,
on the driver's side.
Oh, bad move.
And, yeah, when I got in the car, I had to find...
You wet yourself when you got in the car.
Yeah, I wet myself. I had to go get me a blanket because the seat is completely soaked.
Oh, that's just like you. Let's go back to the phones. We got another caller, 757-687-9494. Come join the party. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. You can hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941. Let's talk to Justin in Surrey. What's going on, Justin?
How you doing, Matt? How you doing, Coach Young?
All right, Justin.
Hi, calling from Surrey County. Just bringing attention to that this year is the 20th anniversary or celebration of the first state football championship from Surrey County before they went back-to-back the 98 and 99 season. Just wanted to make people aware of that, and I'll listen to your comments off the air.
Hold on. Are they doing anything in particular, maybe inviting the players back from that team, or is it just the anniversary of it?
I'm not sure. My cousin and myself are actually working on a documentary to celebrate those teams.
Oh, cool.
So we're doing that probably to be released in 2019. But as far as something planned, I'm not sure.
Well, keep us posted on that. We'd love to either post the link or even post the document or whatever is best for you guys in terms of getting more visibility on our site. So let us know and keep us posted, and thanks for the update.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Justin. And
Thanks, Justin.
Looking at Surrey's football schedule, Ed, their first 3 games are on the road this year. They open up at Northumberland.
Win.
Your buddy Mike Stevenson. That's on August 24th. Then they have a bye week. Then they're at Northampton.
Win.
September 7th. Then they're at Essex.
That.
You didn't ask when.
Yeah. That one will be tough.
That'll be September 14th, and Essex has been in some state championship games and won a state championship before.
Yeah, that'll be the first 3 games at the worst. They should be 2.
This doesn't seem late to you because you want everything to start in like October. You want everything. You don't
No,
want school
football
to start.
should start I'll take the Friday before school starts.
Oh, that's nice of you.
But that's Labor Day weekend, so everybody wants to play Thursday night. So
What's wrong with that? Get a little double feature in Thursday, Friday. Actually, get a triple feature and see some Thursday, some Friday, some Saturday. And away you go.
I don't know why I play. Just play Friday night.
Well, what's wrong with the Thursday night?
I don't know. It's an odd night for football. I don't know.
Then why does the NFL do Thursday night football, sir?
Well, that's because that's money. That's strictly and only because.
Well, maybe
of
they
money.
see it as better money if it being a holiday weekend to have a game on a Thursday than a Friday.
NFL should start the Sunday right before Labor Day.
So he glosses over that time as anyone to address it. Maybe it's a better gate situation in terms of the crowd and the money.
Anything for money, I'm agree for.
Of course you are.
Especially high school.
That's why you want your money.
Yeah, I want my money.
That's what I was getting at. Was it seemed late to have a home opener, not to you, but everybody else, on September 21st. But that's Surrey's home opener against Greensville. So maybe they'll do something to halftime. I would think they'll do a halftime or pregame, do a little on the field honor somebody, the players and coaches from that state championship team 20 years ago. That'd be a good little idea. To finish up their schedule, by the way, they're at Franklin the very next week with Draylen Ford, the ODU commit. And they open October at home against Windsor, at home against Southampton. Littleton Parker's got a pretty good team, just got his survey back. We might get Littleton on the show here soon. We know we got some Southampton fans that listen. At Parkview of South Hill, October 19th, and then they close up shop at home against Brunswick, and then their finale at Sussex Central. Coach Jefferson's had a Tigers team in the state finals or semifinals or region final the last few years. So that'll be a tricky game to end the regular season for the Cougars on the road. In the Tri-Rivers District, which also features Franklin, Sussex Central, and Windsor in Class 1. And then you have in Class 2 from the Tri-Rivers District, Ed, you have, is it nobody? Oh, no, you have Brunswick and Greensville. And then Class 3, you have Parkview of South Hill from the Tri-Rivers District. So Parkview ends up getting a lot of points, as well as Southampton, for that matter. Parkview and Southampton get a lot of points come playoff time for getting wins against a lot of the 2s and 1s in terms of divisions. I know some of the Peninsula, Eastern, and Southeastern teams aren't too crazy about that as they try to jockey in for playoff positioning. Remember last year, Petersburg and Booker T fought for that last spot in Class 3 Region A, and Booker T got it and then lost to Phoebus in the first round after leading them at halftime. So 8 seeds can be dangerous sometimes when it comes to playoffs in high school football, and as we saw this past year in high school basketball, Salem pulled an upset as an 8 seed. All right, when we return, it's High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. You can hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941. That's HS Sports Talk 941. We will chat with new First Colonial head football coach Carlos Martinez, get a look at what the Patriots are doing under his tutelage. That's coming your way next on ESPN Radio 94.1.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Back here on the program, we've got a special guest on the line. He is the new head football coach of the First Colonial Patriots, coming over from being an assistant at Tallwood and helping Coach Keppel's squad make the playoffs the last few years. We say good morning to Coach Carlos Martinez. Coach, how's your summer treating you so far?
Oh, it's going well. We're getting beautiful weather every day. I appreciate it.
Well, up until today, where it's starting to pour like cats and dogs. So, but you've been right. It's been not as hot and humid the last several days as it was the early portion of the summer. Tell the folks a little bit about as we get into introducing you and your background. First Colonial High School. It's your first head coaching situation. You were previously at Tallwood. What drew you to the position? As it looked like it was filled at one time, it reopened, and you ended up being the guy for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. First Colonial has always been a hot spot, really. When I was in high school, of course, First Colonial was a definite powerhouse, at least at the beach in the area. And I knew they have an interesting mix there at the school. I mean, you have some low income, you have some high income, and you just got a great mix of people there. So just thought it was a very attractive position, and thought to see if I could get it.
Hey, Coach Ed Young here. Congrats on that position. Let's stay on along that line, and let's go back to your high school days as to now you played at First Colonial?
No, I played at Ocean Lake under Coach Prince.
All right, let's go from your high school days all the way up until, including all your coaching in that, to the getting the First Colonial spot.
I played 4 years, of course, under great Coach Prince. Love that guy still. Then from there, I went to Hampton Sydney College. Played 4 years there, and played cornerback, punt return there. That was great days. And then after college, I went and coached with the Mustangs with Coach Bruce Pearl for about 5 or 6 years. And then from there, I was at Tallwood for the last 6 years, and then ended up at First Colonial.
Now, you mentioned Coach Prince at Ocean Lakes. I was going to ask you, as a new head coach, who has had the biggest influence on your coaching background in terms of what style and what you want to do?
The biggest influence Coach Prince gave me was just the demeanor, just the way to lead, bringing energy every day. Of course, he was a great influence. He's a huge influence still to this day. But as in probably the last 6 years or so, I definitely would give credit to a few of the coaches that I coached with and the guy that I was under. Coach Mike Beal helped me out a lot. Coach Darryl Cherer helped me out a lot. And then Coach John Keppel, from the day I walked in the door, every year he challenged me with more and more and giving me more and more on my plate and was able to just give it to me and then just let me do it. Good, bad, or indifferent, he stepped aside and just let me make mistakes and come to him when I needed things. So he helped me grow as a coach by giving me the ability and just being there as help instead of holding me back. So definite great things that he's helped me with, helping me grow also.
Now, without divulging all the secrets of what you really want to do, what about the philosophy you're bringing to First Colonial in terms of what people will see basically on the offense and the defensive side?
My big theme or my big thought of this whole off season is just making sure that we understand something about First Colonial. If you look at just the record, you might not be impressed. But if you actually look at the game and study the game of them, for the past few years, we are in games until the last end of the third, fourth quarter, which is almost the same situation when I came to Tallwood. Was in games, but, at the critical points of the last part of the game, the team kind of just couldn't get it done at the end. And so my theme is we're going to compete all the way through the 4 quarters. I know that can sound cliche, but if you look at their games, this is what it's been. And so my big theme is compete every single down. We're going to go out here all 4 quarters, and that's the stretch I want to see here with us, is that we're competing all the way up until the end and not worrying about a scoreboard or a score or anything else. If we can do that, then we'll be just fine. Other than that, when it comes to our defense, just trying to keep things simple to let our athletes run around. Offensively, we definitely got some horses, some guys that we need to get the ball to in space or just get them the ball quickly to make them let them be athletes.
We're chatting with Carlos Martinez. He's the new head football coach of the First Colonial Patriots, joining us here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. FC's opener will come August the 30th at Ocean Lakes as they have their bye week. The week before that, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But, Coach, looking at First Colonial, it's got a great tradition. I mean, just the fact that they won 9 playoff games from 1978 to 1991, making the state playoffs in 89. They beat Hampton that year in the postseason on their way there. But they actually had the longest drought in the beach of not making the playoffs, which is hard to believe, 2000. And they've had success in other sports. You think of field hockey, you think of baseball, so many more. What's it going to take to get this program back where it's near the upper echelon of the beach? And I know it doesn't happen overnight, but what's it going to take as you guys try to get in the postseason mix?
Definitely getting the players to fall in love with the process again. This school is, the last 2 years, the football program has graduated around 35 athletes now. Last year it was 25 seniors who graduated. So we're going to be an extremely young team. But sometimes, as the coach knows, and I know you know also, Mr. Hatfield, is the fact that sometimes youth is a great thing, and understanding that they don't know what they don't know. So just go out there and let's go. Let's fall in love with this process of being a team that's just going to be as competitive as we can be. So, and the other sports I think do help. Like you said, the soccer team, the baseball team, the track team, everybody. It has a winning tradition still there. We just need the reinforcement with the football team again. And I definitely think we got the horses and the kids on the team this year to bring some of that back.
Now, also, Carlos, when was it announced that you got the position?
May. It was late May.
Okay, so I'm assuming you might have not got a chance to really meet with everybody, all players or whatever, but is there any particular, I know from Virginia Preps that we see a kid named Eric Britt is a pretty good ball player. Is there some kids maybe that you can highlight right now? I know it's not everybody, and sometimes we don't want to give out names before we maybe get to at least our first official practice, but any names maybe we can be on the lookout for?
Absolutely. Eric, like you mentioned, Eric Britt, definitely, he's going to be a special player. Good kid. We also got another player, Jalen Goodwin. I think he's going to be all over the field for us. We got a young player, Amon Fields, who's going to be unknown, but I think by the end of the season, people are going to be mentioning his name. And then we got at least definitely one more guy, a couple more guys, but at least got one more guy, Sam Adams, who's going to be a running back / safety for us, who is just a specimen when you see this kid. Good athlete. We just came back from camp. He put some moves on with some quickness on our line or big guys. We have a Tomon Finney, Caden Kubert, Hobie Smith is going to be good for us. Devontae Chappelle, who was a JV kid but now has grown just physically in size and his demeanor. We're definitely going to have some kids around, definitely some names, I think, by the end of the season that people are going to be like, whoa, who are these guys and where they come from? They can get it on. We just came back from the CNU camp actually the last 3 days. Thank you to that staff for letting us come up there for 3 days and compete with some teams up there.
Now, quarterback? Anybody in particular, any names you could throw at us for who you like at quarterback?
We have a stiff competition for quarterback right now between Jalen Goodwin and Holden Tatum. Both of them pretty unique guys. Jalen's just an all-around very good athlete. And Holden is just more of the stereotypical quarterback that you get. Just big arm, big kid, can run a little bit, reads well. Jalen's just a great athlete. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, do whatever he needs. So that's going to be a tough decision, and they're making it tough. And I'm actually happy about that. At camp, they both are splitting time, and I'm telling you, they're making the decision really hard right now. We're just going to keep competing for that, and we'll see when we come out who's going to be that guy back there.
A couple more minutes here with Carlos Martinez, the new head football coach of the First Colonial Patriots, with us this morning here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1 as the Patriots hit the road to start the year at Ocean Lakes and at Salem. Their home opener is September the 14th against Kellum. And, Coach, as you assess your team, you got some good pieces on both sides of the ball, some young guys that will be certainly a part of the program for years to come beyond this season. What do you think sort of is the strength that could, in long term, be your identity as a team? Where are you guys maybe potentially the strongest at?
I think we're going to be strongest. Well, hopefully, with me, I just want to be strongest just mentally all the way up and down the line. I think our linebacking core is going to definitely set the tone for that defense. Our linebacking core, and I also think we're going to have two corners that are just going to be lockdown corners. Right now, it's tossed up between about 3 or 4 of them, but I know definitely we're going to have two corners that we can put on an island and tell you good luck on offense. Our linebacking core should be big, able to move very well. So I think defensively, that's where our strength is going to lie, to be able to fly around the field and definitely slow down some of these teams who want to spread the field and go sideline to sideline.
Now, of course, if I'm not mistaken, practice opens up. It's coming Thursday, correct?
Friday.
Friday's the official first day. Of course, you had an opportunity to work out over the summer, and of course, you come back from CNU camp. Now, who do you have lined up for scrimmages?
We have Granby and Hampton.
Well, you'll be tested there. That'll be a test for you, especially
absolutely.
Hampton.
Absolutely. I will tell you, at CNU camp, we were going against Holland Springs, and we were going against Petty, who's a prep school out of New Jersey. A whole bunch of grown men out there. So it was fun. I mean, we just at CNU, we just had some really good high competition for us.
Yeah, you walk off the field against Highland Springs, your guys got to feel like they're not going to see anything better than that. They've won 3 straight state titles, and they could arguably be the most talented team in any division in the state. And lastly, as we mentioned, the Beach District, give us sort of an overview this year. You've been in the Beach, source coaching with Coach Keppel at Tallwood and been part of some playoff teams. A big surprise team 2 years ago that shocked all of us. We didn't see it coming. You guys going 8-2, sort of handicapped the Beach for us. A lot of people think it's Ocean Lakes as the favorite. Are they clear cut in your eyes? What do you think? Who are some teams to watch out for, in your opinion?
Coming up this year?
Yes, sir.
Oh, besides the Patriots going 10-0?
we can handle that.
There you go. I'd be happy with it. No. I think definitely. I mean, Lansdowne's returning a ton of people. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. Ocean Lake, Salem's always that team, and Coach John White, good friend of mine. I definitely think Bayside obviously stays in day out. It's definitely going to be interesting in the Beach. I'm really not sure. Like I said, besides us, Ocean Lake's obviously is going to be a very good team. But we're gonna have to see. It's definitely going to be an interesting one on the Beach. I feel like there's a lot of teams who are coming up, and I think we're getting back to that time where it used to be who was going to win the Beach instead of knowing who's going to win the Beach. If you know what I mean.
Sure.
Before that came about, so I think that's quickly coming back now to the Beach. It's a toss-up of who's going to win it.
And 7 of the 11 schools in the Beach made the playoffs a year ago, and the Patriots hoping to be one of those teams this year. Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time this morning. Best of luck this coming year and beyond, and we'll chat soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, last thing I know I got to get off, but by the way, whoever picked the opening song to the show, because I've been listening to the show for a long time, is awesome. I love that opening. That opening tune is amazing. Gets me hyped every time I hear it.
All right, good deal.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's from my iPod, so I appreciate that.
Was it? Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Tom.
Good luck to you, Coach.
All right.
That is Carlos Martinez, year 1 at the helm at First Colonial. He digs the theme song to the show. It means we're not changing it. We got one person that likes it here on ESPN Radio 94.1. We did change the sign off to the show, which I think the sign off in the beginning should be a little different, right? It shouldn't be the same, or should the theme song, the intro, be the same as the outro? What do you think? Maybe we should put up for our Twitter followers to.
I like variety. I like variety.
variety.
So
you do.
Yeah, we can We could put that up there and see what the people say.
Thomas, that's what Ed Young says every time he goes into the ice cream parlor. He likes variety. Give him all different kind of flavors, all different kind of scoops.
I'm not a big ice cream guy.
And you missed National Ice Cream Day last Sunday, didn't you?
I'm not. If people could see what ice cream really does to you, nobody would ever eat ice cream again. And ice cream's too much of a national food to talk bad about.
This says this coming from a guy that'll down the nachos and all other stuff that's greasy that's not good for you. Yeah. All right.
Nachos have to be just right.
Just right.
Just
like
right,
porridge? Man. Papa Bear's porridge?
I've never had porridge. What is porridge?
We'll Google that and give you the proper definition.
Is porridge grits?
Not quite. We'll give you a proper definition of porridge later in the show. When we return, we'll talk to another new football coach. He is the head coach at Jamestown, the Eagles from the Bay Rivers District. One of your favorites is the AD there in Kenny Edwards. But we'll talk with Mike Murphy. He's the first-year coach coming over from Gloucester, I believe it is. That's coming your way next on ESPN Radio 94.1.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your host, Matt Hatfield, and the coach, Ed Young.
From one new head football coach to another, we bring in the new head football coach of the Jamestown Eagles out of the Bay Rivers District. We say good morning to Coach Mike Murphy. Coach, got a chance to see you guys at the ODU team camp. How's the offseason going and the summer going for you as well?
It's going pretty well. Thanks for having me on, guys. We've been going 5 days a week. We're getting more kids out every day, so it's going pretty well. We're getting ready for 2 days here in a couple of weeks.
Well, we'll get into your background here in just a bit, but what drew you to Jamestown High School? Open position there as the head football coach. They made the playoffs last year, not with the most glossy records, lost in the opening round against Kings Fork, but much like we spoke on earlier with Coach Martinez at First Colonial, other sports at the school have done well, so you got to feel like there's some potential there in Jamestown football.
Yeah, absolutely. The school's definitely got athletes. I was kind of drawn to Jamestown because it's the same type of program that we took over at Gloucester, a team where they haven't been successful, comparable to some other teams in the district in the past couple of years. But at Gloucester, we were able to turn things around, and that's what we're going to have to do at Jamestown as well.
Coach Ed Young here. Congrats on the position. Matt had said earlier a little bit about your background. Let's do that now. Let's go back to your high school days. Bring us all the way up through to the current position you got here at Jamestown.
I went to high school in Sunbury, Pennsylvania at Churchland High School. I graduated in 2007. I ended up going to Penn State. I did not play football there. I just got my degree. Graduated in 2012. And I took a math teaching position down at Gloucester High School in 2013. I coached at Gloucester for 5 years. My first year I was a volunteer. And then year 2 I was quarterbacks coach. Years 3, 4, and 5 I coached the quarterbacks and was offensive coordinator there at Gloucester. And that opportunity is what kind of set me up to be ready for a head coach. And the Jamestown position came open, and I applied for it, and the interviews went well, and I got the job.
Coach, as you look at what Jamestown has on the table this year, I know one of the names that we're going to go through a lot of your positions here. The highlight we had last summer on Coach Bobby Wilder. His son, Drew Wilder, is a key figure for you in the trenches. Talk about what he's shown you so far.
Drew is a big guy. He's very mobile. He's a great leader. He leads by example on a daily basis. He works really hard in the weight room and then in our conditioning circuits. He's working really hard, and that's paying off. I can see Drew did really well at the ODU camp when we were down there. He's getting better every day.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he's a rising junior for you?
He's a rising junior, and I believe Drew's about 6'3", 295.
So good size. And where do you guys plan to use him at on both sides of the line this year?
He'll probably play in center or guard for us on offense, and defensively he'll be a defensive end technique.
And as a lot of people don't know, the junior year is such a pivotal one for college recruiting. So you imagine after this year you'll start to see a lot of schools come in looking at him?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's in contact with a couple of schools right now. No one has offered him yet, I don't believe, but I know Drew's his name's out there, and he's going to a lot of camps this summer. So, yeah, I anticipate coaches coming in, and even throughout the season, to watch Drew and see what he does on game days, and I think the offers will start rolling in for him.
Coach, also let's look back as you getting your team ready and taking your first head coaching job here at Jamestown. What about philosophy in terms of, first of all, who's kind of had the biggest influence on you in terms of putting your philosophy together as to what you want done on the field? And then secondly, what will the Jamestown fans see with your team?
When I was at Gloucester, my first 4 years at Gloucester, our head coach was Brandon Kelly, and sitting down and getting to know Brandon, he really helped me learn the game, and we kind of adapted his offense to what we could make work for the kids at Gloucester, and we've kind of ran with the spread offense and adjusted it each year to fit our kids. But offensively, we're going to be running spread. We're going to try to be as even as possible as far as running pass go. Defensively, we want to keep it simple. Let our kids react, just read and react, and get aligned correctly, and just have fun out there. We don't want them to think too much, because if they're thinking too much, they're not going to be playing full speed. This year at Jamestown, I think the fans can expect to see a team that is going to come out and give 100% every night. The kids have been working really hard, and it's a new system for them, so it's a learning process right now. But I think once they get it down, the kids are going to be flying around the football field, and Friday night should be pretty fun.
And looking back at the Gloucester team, before we look at some more of these players to go with Drew on the squad, I see some similarities perhaps with Gloucester had not had a lot of success. You guys certainly built around a big weapon in Isaiah Spencer last year, and you surprised some people, got in the postseason. Do you draw some comparisons to what the situation was at Gloucester, whereas not a lot of success football-wise, tough district, and the Bay River's got some names that have been around for a long while. Lafayette's been the king. They've been in state playoff games. Pecoson's been in state playoff games. Smithfield, York, others very good. Do you see some of those similarities, or do you try to wipe the slate clean and not even bring up what you guys did at Gloucester and try to apply it here?
No, I think it's very comparable. It's really the same type of kids in just a different town. Like you said, same kind of setup with the Peninsula District and the Bay Rivers District. There's not really that change of level there either. So just relating with the kids and telling them my experiences, and and going from a 1-9 season until last year, 5-5 and making the playoffs. The kids can relate to that, and they want to get there. So constantly reminding them of that and why we're working so hard, because we want to get to that spot and be successful. So between the two schools, yes, it definitely compares. I'm always going to bring up my experiences because I think that helps the kids.
We're chatting with Mike Murphy. He's the new head football coach of the Jamestown Eagles out of the Bay Rivers District here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Jamestown opens up at home August 31st against Huguenot, Ed.
Coach, let's talk some individual players. Let's start with guys who you think are standing out, where those kids will be playing. And obviously, let's start with the quarterback position.
The quarterback position right now, I'm looking at three guys. I've got a rising senior who was a backup quarterback last year. I have a rising junior who played varsity quarterback as a freshman. And I have a rising sophomore who's our JV quarterback. All three guys, kind of do things differently. I'm not exactly sure who is the front runner yet. I haven't named that position. But hopefully by the end of our second scrimmage, we'll know who our starter is going to be for sure at quarterback.
Well, but what about some other kids, Coach, you talk about?
Defensively, we've got a senior at Mike linebacker, McKinley Harris. He was super impressive at the ODU camp. He was flying around. He was making tackles on the sideline, opposite side of the field. He's going to be our quarterback of our defense. He's a big kid. He's probably about 6'2", 200. Very knowledgeable, very smart. So I think he's going to be able to lead us defensively. And honestly, our strongest part of our team is going to be up front. Our offensive and defensive lines we're pretty big across the board. On the outside, we have a rising junior, Jamadi Whippy. He's very explosive. He's one of our fastest guys. I believe he ran a 4.5 when we tested 40s last month. He's got some good size to him too. He's about 6'4". We're going to be pretty young this year. We do have some seniors that have experience and that are going to fill key roles. And overall, we're going to be a pretty young team this year.
How much does it start, too, with building? I mean, certainly you never wipe off a year, but you get in the JV guys and the participation. How much is that going to be an emphasis for you guys to build the future of Jamestown football, where certainly you want to get in the playoffs, have a good record this year, but you're looking at long-term? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's the biggest key to get a program turned around is investing in those young guys. We do have a lot of rising freshmen coming out, which was a good thing for us. But keeping those guys motivated on a daily basis, short-term, teaching them how to play football, and then long-term goals would be helping them develop to becoming the players we want them to be. But in order to turn this thing around, we're going to need those eighth graders and rising freshmen to stay invested. And that's really what happened at Gloucester. The guys like Isaiah Spencer's class, we had them as 8th graders 5 years ago, and we were able to keep them together. And I think we graduated around 25 seniors there last year. But that was the key, is always investing in the young guys and keeping them coming out and keeping them motivated.
Coach, who do you have for your scrimmages coming up?
I believe we're scrimmaging Portsmouth Christian on the 17th. I'm not sure if that's been finalized yet, but that will be in Williamsburg at 6 o'clock. And then the following week is the 23rd. I think we are going down to Great Bridge.
Oh, we just talked with Coach Bowerboom over there a couple weeks ago with Great Bridge. New situation there. What are you wanting to get out of those scrimmages before game one against Huguenot? What are the things you're looking for as a staff that you're telling the kids?
I just want to see the kids in action. A lot of these guys that are going to be playing for us this year don't have varsity experience, so getting them out and letting them see the speed of the game and being able to coach them on the field, I think is going to be important. I want to make sure everybody gets reps just so we can see what we have. We know some of the guys are capable. They played last year. We went back and watched some of their film, but I think the biggest thing about the scrimmages is getting guys out and letting them get that experience they need going in that week one game.
Coach, so my final question for you would be, how do you assess the Bay Rivers this coming year, coming from Gloucester?
To me, I mean, there's not really a difference. I don't see quite the difference that people would think it's a jump down at the Bay Rivers. That's not true. Like you guys said previously, there are some pretty solid teams across the board. I think the Bay Rivers is going to be pretty competitive this year. We've got, I think, 4 new coaches in the district. So as far as scouting and things like that goes, it's going to be different. So there are the traditional teams that have been dominating the league. But overall, I think it's going to be a very good league, and I'm excited to coach in it.
And if I see right, your first 3 games are at home. You got Huguenot, Pecos, and then Smithfield on a Saturday. Is that correct? First 3 games at home?
Yes, sir.
So a chance to get the little fan base out there and start getting behind Jamestown football. Last one for us here, and we thank you for coming on the program this morning. Coach Mike Murphy of the Jamestown Eagles here on High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. As you go in to embark on this year one as a head football coach, who are some of the people that you turn to for advice, either current coaches, people that coached before, anybody you seek advice from as you go through this process this year?
On a day-to-day basis, I'm always in contact with my coaches. I want guys on staff that are gonna help me out, and I don't want everything to always be my way. We've all coached, we all have experiences, so just communicating with them on a daily basis and taking their point of view, I think is really going to help us grow as a team and as a staff. And then from time to time, I'll talk with guys that I've coached with previously and just see how they're doing and how are they adjusting to things and. Just talking football and even talking to Coach Wilder and his staff has helped me out a little bit too, because like you said, it is my first year as a head coach, and learning some of the things about how to run a program and doing a lot of things behind the scenes that you don't see on a daily basis, and that you don't necessarily have to do as a offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. So just learning and taking in all this knowledge and then trying to execute it every day.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on the program. Don't be a stranger. Best of luck this coming year with the Jamestown Eagles, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Good luck, Coach.
That is Mike Murphy, the head football coach of the Jamestown Eagles, with us this morning here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Not the easiest of situations, Ed, but as you look at Jamestown, they do have some pieces there, and I'll be curious to see how Coach Wilder's son develops over there. They also got the McKinley Harris kid. He mentioned it could be a real sleeper of a player. So be curious to see how things go with the Eagles of Jamestown this coming year as they try to get back to the postseason. Remember last year, that last week of the season, it was them and Wilson vying for that final spot in Division 4. There was no really prize in that because you had to play Kings Fork, who you figured was going to put a whooping on one of them, and they did. Kings Fork put a whooping on a lot of people, so no shame in that. But we'll be interested to see if they can get one of those final spots again this year.
Well, obviously, you're coming in new to a program. You got to get the kids to buy in. You got to get your athletes out there staying eligible. The process of putting a program together is tough. Wins help. I mean, you could work hard and be raw and all that mess, but you got to win, and winning helps that. But sometimes that process is so tough that you can't judge a new program strictly on wins early. It's just in terms of how you see the progress and the kids performing well.
Earlier in the show, you heard us reference porridge. To give you the definition, porridge is a dish consisting of oatmeal or another meal or cereal boiled in water or milk. And I've heard it's been good in the past, but this particular picture I'm looking at on the web does not make it look like it's the most tasty of meals that one could have.
Yeah, how we got on porridge for the show, I'm not sure, but I will not be touching it.
I'm not touching porridge.
Not touching it.
All right. No, I'm going to leave that alone. When we return, phone lines are open at 757-687-9494. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. You want to go through your team's schedule for football this year? We'll do it. Give us a call. Hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941. Any schedule. It doesn't have to be just high school. That's our specialty. But you want to throw in a college or pro, we'll go through it. We like to do that. Tell you how many wins the team's going to get. So then you can tell us 5 months later from now or 3 months later from now how wrong we're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I like that.
Give us a holler. But nobody will call in and then tell us 3 months later when we hit it on the nose. Because you, my friend, have hit Smithfield on the nose each of the last 2 years. You told Keith they're going 8 games, and they won 8 games. And you told them again they're going 8 games, and they won 8 games. And
you will never hear you're right when you're a talking head. You will always hear you were wrong, even when you're right.
Yeah. That's pretty much how it goes.
That's how it
you're
goes.
Right. Hey, I just told you you're right for a change.
There you go.
So,
speaking of right, how about that trade, Leonard? Have you ever seen a trade where both players traded were so somewhat disappointed?
That was wrong, that trade was. That trade was not right. That trade was wrong.
That trade was wrong.
It was wrong. So give us a shout, 757-687-9494 on Ed Young's favorite radio station. What is it?
ESPN Radio 94.1.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Don't forget, coming up at about 11:25, we are scheduled to hear from Chris Taylor, Virginia Beach native from Cox High School, now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. An NL best 38-17 since May 17th, but their next 31 games against teams with winning records. So it will be a tall order for the Dodgers to not just win the NL West, but secure home field if they want to go deep in the playoffs. We'll see. That NL West would be a fun race. I'm rooting against Chris Taylor. I'm not going to tell him that on the air, but being a Diamondbacks fan, so there you have it. Ed won't have to worry about it because the Yankees will be in. It's just a matter of if they're going to be a division or a wild card.
I'm going to rat on you. I would tell Chris Taylor.
Don't do that.
You
He'll hang up in the middle of the segment. Don't do that.
No, he's too professional. He won't hang up. Hey, we just heard from Jamestown's new football coach, Mike Murphy. Their coach from last year, Donnell Brown, has returned to his alma mater in Hickory. And we're going to hear what he has to say as Matt caught up with him this week.
All right, here with Hickory head football coach Donnell Brown, getting ready for his team's season. The opener, just not too far from distance, coach, here in 2018. You're back at your alma mater, Hickory High School, after coaching at Jamestown. How's it feel back to be back in Chesapeake coaching at the school you went to?
Well, it feels great. You know, you go away and then you come back and you realize there's so many things about home that you miss. I've stated before, some of the best football is being played right in the Southeastern District. So it's great to come back home and walk the halls and coach in the halls that I went through as a player.
Well, and even though Hickory hasn't been to the playoffs yet in football, the best years they had when you played for Jeff Beard and your brother Ronell, you guys were running that wing team. You guys were on the precipice of the playoffs, knocked off Oscar Smith in the district. So you got to feel like you got a chance to instill some of that you guys had there as a player. Is that what your kind of philosophy and plan is to do this year? Or?
Yes, I'm big on controlling things we control. And like I just told the kids after our first day here, you know, effort, physicality, and focus. Those 3 things we can control. Let's control those. Let's try to be the best in the district, best in the state in those 3 things, and then we'll worry about the other things as they fall.
How much do you use what you had at Jamestown in terms of systems, or do you say it's a completely different situation here? And what did you learn from your first head coaching opportunity?
Well, first, you know, going to Jamestown, I was very fortunate with Coach Edwards, and Jamestown gave me the opportunity to coach there. Definitely learned some things there, learned different about the kids. I realized that at the end of the day, you have to depend on the kids that are going to put in the work and the effort. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm taking coming to Hickory. And I told Kenny Edwards, who was the AD there, you know, that's something that I've learned, you know. At the end of the day, the kids that are constantly working hard, that are being in the weight room, they're the ones you're going to trust on Friday night. So, you know, you got to develop those and put effort into developing those kids.
A lot of new faces, which is expected because you're the new head coach at Hickory. But one of the names I remember from last year that had some interceptions, made some plays, was Corey Chapman. And today, he looked good out here today in this event.
Yes, Corey's doing a great job playing corner and receiver for us. We're using him more in receiver. Last year, he was using special situations on offense. Coach Wilson did a good job of trying to get him plays and different things on offense. But this year, we're going to have him playing more both ways, offense and defense. He's a great athlete. He's a competitor. He has a hard-working mentality. Looking for a pretty good season out of him.
And he's a junior, so I imagine if he performs at the level you're hoping, that could catapult into some recruiting attention going into next year.
Absolutely. I think he definitely has the potential to play college football. He has a work ethic. That's the biggest thing. It's one thing to have the height and speed and different things like that and athletic ability, but do you have the work ethic? He definitely has the work ethic to play at the next level. My hope that he continues to work hard and that he has a good season and that colleges will start to notice that it's a great kid that can get on their program.
You don't have the marquee 4-star, 5-star guys, but you're hoping to develop some players into college-level prospects here at Hickory, whether they're juniors or seniors. Give us some names to watch out for that could be some all-district level kids and perhaps college players offensively and defensively we should watch out for this year.
Well, one guy is Michael Evans. He plays extremely well for us. He plays a lot of different positions for us. Right now, you could say that he's playing out of his college position on our defense because of a need we have at defense.
You guys using that?
Right now, we're using more of an outside linebacker. I can see him playing more linebacker off the ball a little bit more. Maybe you're down safety in certain college schemes, but he's another guy who has that work ethic. He's a competitor. He has that tenacity to play. Our quarterback, Cam Manning, he's starting to step up. He has the height and the potential. He's right now battling Kyle Norco for the starting QB job right now. So hopefully both of them can compete, and we'll see he'll take the helm of that one. I'm trying to think. Also, Jeremy's Council, he's a running back for us. He's a little undersized on the height, but of all positions in football, you can be a little undersized with the height. He's still developing himself. He has some good feel for the game and run the ball. He continued to work in the weight room. So I'm looking for good things for a lot of kids right there. There's just a few that off the top of my head that did well today. So, but I like the group we got. I think we got a great group of kids. We just got to continue to keep working hard.
Couple more for you. Appreciate your time. Two-parter here. What do you think the identity of this team will be, your strength, and then what are the areas you're really trying to shore up here as you get ready for your scrimmages in game one?
Well, we've got to play the game the right way. That's the biggest thing I told the kids today, is learn the game, how to play the right way. When you watch other teams that have been successful, like Indian River out here today in Salem and then even Lansdowne, when you watch how they play the game, I call it the right way. They play with a certain level of speed, a certain level of physicality and toughness and those things. So as a whole, we have to develop that. And we have a month to get ready to get that going for our first game. We go down and play Currituck down in Currituck High School in North Carolina. So that's our goal. We're going to try to develop and look at that. There's going to be mistakes made, especially in our first year, but we can make our progress towards playing the game the right way as some of these other Division 5 teams, then we'll be on the right path.
And lastly, I know Brian Billick, who coached the Ravens in the NFL, had a rule he wouldn't use the P word, which was the playoffs, so they made it. Are you going to use the P word? Is that something you're talking about, making the playoffs? Because back when you played, you would have made it with this expanded format. And what's your sense of that? Are you talking that with the guys about playoffs, or are you just going to wait until you get to that spot where it looks like it could happen?
We're focused on what we call playing the Hickory way. Okay. And that's the relentless focus, relentless physicality, and a relentless effort. Practice, every time we touch the field, even in 7-7 of competition, every time we do something, weight room, we want to do that. And I believe if we continue to do that every time, you're going to see some results that's going to propel us into a place where we might have a chance to get into the playoffs. But as far as talking about it and looking at it, now we're just focused on doing what we're doing, playing the Hickory way.
So no P word for now for Coach Brown of the Hawks, but maybe it's coming. Keep it going. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So that was Donnell Brown with us here on ESPN Radio 94.1. It's high school sports talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com. And Donnell, the new head coach at Hickory. Ed, what do you take away from that there as the Hawks will try to make some history and get in the postseason for the first time? They open up at Currituck, then it's Nansemond River, at Kings Fork, Western Branch, at Oscar Smith, Indian River, at Great Bridge, Grassfield, Lakeland, and then at Deep Creek, as you are not, I don't think, the most enthusiastic about the postseason chances.
I like the interview. I think Coach has the right things going. You know, he wants to play that Hickory way back when he played.
You like to hire.
Yeah, it's good. He has saying the right things. Then you read the schedule. Oh, my God. I mean, I think they can get an opening win.
Well, everybody's got that schedule in the district except the non-district game, and at Currituck is not the most
but, wow.
difficult of a non-district game.
Yeah, they've got a murderer's row right there at the beginning, and that's, I mean, yeah, you got to play that, but I'd rather, if you could, play it later, try to get some wins. Get, again, high school level, it's so important to get wins.
Well, they got to pull off a home upset, either knock off Nansemond at home or Western Branch at home, and I say that because Nansemond will be coming off a game with Maury, which we'll see how that goes in terms of injuries, how the outcome is. Western Branch, a little bit on the young side, but they've got a murderous row to start with Lake Taylor, Kings Fork, Deep Creek, so they could be having some guys banged and bruised. So if Hickory can pull off one of those two upsets at their place, then maybe we're talking about using that P word. So,
yeah, I just think that, Hickory won't be taken serious by some teams. Not talking about coaches. I always talk about players where they kind of sometimes look at the schedule and figure, okay, this one won't be that tough, and all of a sudden you're in a battle for your life for that ball game, and that's how, like you say, Hickory can sneak up and get somebody on home.
Very true, very true. And I like that they did stay in house with a guy in terms of he's one of their own, and he played for Jeff Beard, and that was the team that did knock off Oscar Smith before they had their 99-game district win streak when they beat them in 2006. So that team would have been in the playoffs, as we mentioned, had they had the 8 teams get in. But I think eventually they'll get there. I'm not calling for it to be this year either, so don't feel bad.
It'll be tough, but that's what it's for.
Never know. We've seen some crazier things happen, that's for sure.
Well, it depends on how the ball bounces. And speaking of how the ball bounces, we're going to see how well it bounces for second-year coach Dontrell Leonard, Churchland High Truckers. Coach Leonard gave us his look at the Truckers when he spoke with Matt recently here, and this is on ESPN Radio 94.1.
All right, here with Churchland second-year head football coach Dontrell Leonard. His Truckers getting ready for the 2018 campaign. Coach, a big difference just in the look of your guys from a year ago to now. Certainly they've been in the weight room quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's all we've been doing since January after our season against Lake Taylor. I've just been in the weight room, man, doing our 5-week plan. And, a lot of work on the field, but we still have a long way to go.
Sure, and you've been with some successful programs as an assistant before. What did you learn, not just the kids here, but what did you learn in year one as a head coach this past season?
Man, year one was a whirlwind. I was learning along with the kids and everybody else in the community, man. There was a lot of stuff to learn, a lot of administration stuff that, as a head coach, you have to take care of, the kids, everything's fallbacks on you. No matter what it is, it fallbacks on you. So you have to make sure that you're on top of it. In year two, I came in this off season after our last game. I came in with a plan. I knew what my downfalls was last year, so I strengthened those this off season.
And we'll get to some of those things in a moment. But even though you guys went 1-9 at the season you wanted, were the encouraging things was that A, you were young, playing a lot of sophomores and freshmen and underclassmen, and B, you were in a lot of close games, so there was a chance to win those games?
Oh, yeah, it was a chance to win all those games. I mean, we was in 7 of our 10 games, man. Our kids, they didn't know how to finish. They didn't have the confidence within themselves to do it. And this all season, coaches and now we instilled that in our kids. And as you just seen a little bit of turnaround today. We still have a long way to go.
A couple of the guys I think you're going to lean on coming back from last year, Kenny Gallup and Jason McMahon. Tell me about some of those guys that are going to be key leaders for you.
Oh, yeah, Kenny, he's going to play our Panther position. Running back, Jason McMahon, he's going to play inside, outside backer. Also had Jarrell Ware, running back, linebacker, Kasheed Watson, our quarterback, Taquan Jordan, receiver and the DB. We have a couple other guys that we trying to get to turn the corner. Isaiah Nixon as a cornerback. Robert Carter. A lot of guys are stepping up, and we did a lot of things this off season with our kids. A lot of weight room, and also put a lot of time in, a lot of overtime, doing a lot of field work, and just to get them, doing a lot of team camaraderie things to get their confidence. And now coaches and we see, and also our parents, we see that our kids are hanging with each other. They are doing things with each other. So at this point last year, they wouldn't do that.
A couple more for you. What do you think that the strength of this team are areas that you guys could be strong in? It looked like last year you guys were hurting a lot up front, but you've got better bodies and I think participation in the trenches, do you not?
Yeah, we still have a long way to go. That's ever since we came back from East Carolina, starting June 25th, was our day back from East Carolina. I put all my emphasis in the offensive line, and right now, as far as implementing our offense, we are ahead of the game now than we was last year.
And lastly, tell us about the 2 scrimmages you have before you get ready for your season opener. I believe you guys open up against Kickingham, do you not?
Yes, we'll open against Kickingham.
What do you want to see in those scrimmages as you get ready for game 1 here in 2018?
Competition. I want to see our guys compete. I mean, you saw down here today, we had a goal line stand with the ball on the 3-yard line. Our kids stood up. The rubber met the road. Yeah. Hey, they achieved the challenge today.
So it's just kind of taking pride in moments and kind of having an identity, so to speak.
Exactly. They didn't have identity within themselves. So with that, they could not be a team. They didn't know how to be a team. And we did so much stuff this off season
Now, you see the difference, they're talking more, they execute more, but again, we still have a ways to go.
For sure, but we're seeing progress with Coach Leonard and the Truckers here in 2018. Thanks so much. Best of luck this year.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
That was Dontrell Leonard, head football coach of the Churchland Truckers, gearing up for year number 2 at the helm, Ed, as their 2 scrimmages. We didn't mention it in the interview, but they have. It looks like they got Kempsville as one of them. And, by the way, one little quick correct, I mentioned Kempsville. I'll get to that in a second. But they have Grafton in the game. And their other scrimmage, I want to say it's Minchville, but I'm not 100% positive of that. I'll get to their schedule in a second, too. I mentioned Kempsville. One thing we didn't mention on the video show is that we did mention on the video show that Kempsville's best player, by the way, he's in a new school now in Salem, which we'll hear later on with Shawn Wilson of the Sun Devils. He's actually transferred over to Salem. But back to Churchland here for a second, Ed. 1-9 last year, but I get the sense they're going to be better this year, a lot better.
Yeah, I prove on that record how much and how high. Again, open games if they get some of those wins early. But I think that's a team that, and I haven't looked at the schedule, 500 is not unrealistic.
Yeah, maybe a game or below it even. Their first 2 games at Kickotan, at Grafton. And they were in both of those games last year, lost and close. And they're at home against Norview, another first-year coach, and Reggie Chavis. At Armstrong, who got the last seed of the playoffs, I believe it was in Region 3B. Then it's the big rivalry game, Norcom at home, at Booker T. Washington, Maury, at Wilson, at Granby, and then they're at home for the finale October 26th against Lake Taylor. That one will be a real tall order, of course. But, yeah, I'm thinking right around there, 500-ish, could be a little bit above, a little bit below, and that should be enough in Class 4 Region A to get in the postseason, I would think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Those first few games, if they can get through that, maybe 2-2 after their first 4 games, then they can maybe even knock somebody off that later on we'll be saying that they shouldn't beat, but they probably can.
You want to hear a great stat about Churchland? Well, it's not a stat they like, but they've been in the playoffs 8 different times. 1975, 1997, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2013, 2014, 2015. How many wins do they have?
0.
Have never won a playoff game. Yeah. Could change this year, though. If I hear correctly, Thomas tells me that Tiger Woods is now co-leader with, is it Jordan Spieth there at the British Open?
There's a big group, 6 guys at 6 under. Tiger Woods, Kevin Chappell, Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, Kevin Kistner, and Zach Johnson, all at 6 under.
How do you break a 6-way tie?
Ricky Fowler, Matt Kuchar, and Eric Van Rooyen at 5 under. So there's a bunch of guys up at the top there.
How do you break a 6-way tie?
Well, first of all, Woods will not win.
Oh, what do you see? You make these grandiose statements. Now, what if he wins? What are you going to do? Are you going to?
I will be the happiest person in the world because I want to see Tiger Woods win. Tiger Woods win.
All right,
Tiger Woods should win.
Tiger Woods should win.
Should win. I would like to see.
It's a tongue twister for you, isn't it?
Wasn't he just like 33rd in the field like yesterday?
Yeah, he was 6 under, or he's currently 6 under through 14 today. He's improved 28 places.
You know what I think, Thomas? We should make Ed Young wear a Diamondbacks jersey. Oh wait, you already got to do that, don't you? How about next week at Virginia Wesley? You gonna pay up your friendly wager that you lost last year?
You get the jersy.
I got the jersey.
I will wear it.
But
I'm wearing it like the jersey you got on today. I wouldn't wear that for it if I won the bet.
Well, I lost the wager. That's why I'm wearing it today.
Redskin jersey.
Yeah, I'm wearing
Who
a
in the heck
jersey.
would wear a Redskins jersey?
Hey, you're making all the Redskins fans mad.
Well, then call in and tell me why I'm wrong. But
I'm doing it as a favor for. I'm doing it as a favor for Al.
Well, Al's a good guy. I can't make fun of Al's team. Yeah, I don't want to. Hope Al's not listening.
Make fun of Al.
I don't want Al to be mad at me because the Redskins aren't bad. I just wish they would play Major League Football.
They do play. It's National Football League,
right,
Major League Football.
National Football.
Why are you hitting on the Redskins? What did they ever do to you? They beat your Raiders last year. Whatever happened to the Raiders if they beat them in week 3? They went in the toilet.
That's how bad.
Oh, speaking of toilets, that should be a great segue for our next. We're not going to talk about it today. He won't let me, so I'd love to. He won't let me talk about it.
Quick point, Churchland. We talked with Churchland's football coach.
Yeah.
We have to give a nod out to Churchland's athletic director, a good friend of the show.
Yeah.
Though he fusses us out a lot, especially you. Mike Winnington. Him and his wife. What's his wife's name? Don't say Mrs. Winnington.
Tiffany.
Him and Tiffany just welcome in child number 4.
Yeah, congrats.
So it's Major. Their name is Major.
Major Whittington. 4. Did you get him a red and black outfit so he could get
I've been working on his other 2.
Yeah.
I got one of the 2 wants to play Nan's River
Give
right
you a
now.
verbal commitment?
I got verbal commitment from the one. I think it was verbal. So hopefully I'll get Major too now.
Real quickly, because we're supposed to have Chris Taylor of the Dodgers next, let's talk to Jerry in Suffolk. You're on ESPN Radio 94.1. Jerry, what's happening?
Morning, guys. The only reason I'm calling is because I found somebody announced on the radio or TV that finally doesn't pull for Tiger Woods all the time. It drives me nuts. He's going to be Hall of Fame, one of the greatest ever, but week after week he's in 30th, 40th, doesn't make the cut, and his name's above all these guys at first, second, and third. Drives me crazy, and sounds like Ed's like that too, and I just want to ask y'all's opinion on all that.
All right.
Well,
Thank you, Jerry.
I agree with Jerry. I like Tiger Woods, but Tiger Woods is not the Tiger Woods of yesteryear. Of course, none of us are, but everybody keeps thinking he's going to come back and win 2 or 3 majors. I don't see it happening. I really think he's got health issues in terms of a bad back or whatever, and there's just too many younger guys who are ahead of him. And I'm not mad that they keep about Tiger Woods, because every sport you need superstars to talk about to
He
keep
gives him a
interest
little
in
bit
the
of
sport.
juice. Yeah, he does.
Right.
Give him a little
And in golf, think about it. Name the top 5 golfers right now if they were ranked top 5. First of all, a lot of people hardly can do
I
it.
give you George Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson. I don't know if these are the top 5, but those names that leap to mind.
Those
Phil
are the ones
Mickelson.
that-
Phil
right.
Mickelson, although he's been a little up and down too.
But none of them have the juice that a Tiger Woods has. And that's my point.
The
in that.
closest would be Mickelson, but he's not been as sharp as he's been in recent years.
And he's really a yesteryear type player
To a
too.
degree,
now.
yeah.
He's not today's modern guy. So
But he's a sentimental favorite for a lot of people now. He did some things this year that people didn't like.
well,
and understandably.
he played golf the way I do. I hit the ball,
hit it again.
I chased it and hit it back. Why isn't that illegal? You should be able to do that at least on one hole where you hit it and then you chase it and hurry up and while it's moving, hit it back towards the hole.
the ball again.
That is a skill. That is a skill that we should be able to use in golf. I would play more if they allow that.
I just say put it in your pocket and go home. That's what I say.
I wouldn't go so
That's
much
what
to
you
that.
should do, Ed. You should put it in your pocket and go home because you might break something.
Well, I have done that on a golf course. I hit
can
a
see
house. I think I broke a window. I knocked an owl out of a tree.
Ooh,
And
did you really?
I tipped over a golf cart. And I think I upset the the food spread in the clubhouse.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to tuck the napkin in. It was the tablecloth. When I got up, all the food went.
Oh, I can see you doing that.
Yeah, I got kicked out of a few golf places.
More to do here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. We're going to definitely hear from Shawn Wilson of the Salem Sun Devils, head football coach there, one of the favorites in the Beach District. And we're hoping to hear from Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers next out of Virginia Beach, Cox High School, coming your way on ESPN Radio 94.1.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Back here on the program, we have a special guest. He is the super utility man for the Los Angeles Dodgers, reigning National League champion, and they've been red hot here, 38-17 since May the 17th. That's the best in the National League during that span, and he's out of Cox High School in Virginia Beach. We say good morning to Chris Taylor. Chris, how you doing out there?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. How was the All-Star break for you? What'd you do?
I actually got to go home, spend some time with the family. I got sunburned at the beach a little bit, but definitely worth it. It was a good time.
You a fan of the All-Star break being a little bit later this year, or not so much?
I didn't even notice it, to be honest. It was. I think it came at a good time. I feel like we were playing pretty well, but guys might have been, pushing for the break a little bit. It was getting to that point where, it's getting to be a grind, and I think everybody was looking forward to the break.
Sure, and you guys are playing really well, which we'll get into in just a second. But growing up dreaming of being a big leaguer, all the kids like yourself that play baseball do, what's different about the experience from what you envisioned as a kid?
I don't know. I think maybe as a kid you don't realize, all the work and time you have to put in. You don't realize that you have to get to the field at 1:00 for a 7:00 game, and there's really a lot to go into it. And like I said, it is a grind. It's a day in and day out process, and it's a lot of hard work, and it can be stressful at times, but at the same time, it's definitely worth it and a lot of fun you get to go out there under the lights at 7 o'clock and play in front of thousands of people.
We're chatting with University of Virginia product and Cox High School grad Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers with us here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Chris batted .288 with 21 homers, 72 RBIs, 17 stolen bases last year as the Dodgers won the NL pennant, Ed.
Hey, Chris, Ed Young here. Obviously, you're really becoming a really top-notch major leaguer as we're following your career here. And I want to go back to your days at Cox High School. You kind of alluded a little bit to it now when you were just talking about what like being a professional. Back in your high school days, did you ever think, I know you dreamed about it, but that you would get to this point and be this good at the major league level?
Yeah, that was the dream. You know, I was always confident in myself. You know, it's really hard to say. You know, it still is a little bit of, I don't know the word, but, you know, not a surprise, but, you know, every once in a while you have to kind of take it all in, and, you know, it all happens so fast, and like I said, there's so much work to get here, so you really do have to appreciate it, and, you know, there's no question I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all the people that helped me along the way, you know, starting in high school, back at Cox with my teammates and my coaches, Coach Conroy, and you know, you know, those were some of the best times in my life.
Now, when you mentioned about some of the guys that have helped you out, we looked at some of your stats and that, and one of the things that you were credited for making a change in your swing that you thought helped you out. Can you talk to us about that?
Oh yeah, last year, you know, so before last year, I, you know, was kind of a up and down player. You know, probably spent most of my time in AAA, and you know, got call ups here and there. You know, but really just couldn't stick in the big league. So, you know, I felt it was necessary to, you know, make that swing change in order to be the player I wanted to be, and that's an everyday big leaguer. And, you know, I worked with Rob Van Scoyac, who was with the Dodgers at the time, based out of California, and, you know, add a leg kick, you know, a little more movement with my hands, and, you know, that helped me gain a little bit of power and bat speed, and, you know, really focus on hitting the ball in the air, and you know, it helped me a lot, and you know, I think that was a big reason I was able to stick last year.
Now, obviously, one of the asking, you're probably going to get asked this a lot, but I'd like just to hear your response about it. The big news with you guys is picking up Machado from the Orioles, and then the opportunity to kind of allow you to move around in different places, because the Dodgers are big on guys playing multiple positions. So your feeling on Machado coming on board, and then how's it going to directly affect you?
It's exciting. You know, our ultimate goal is to win a World Series, and he's definitely a guy that can help us do that. Sticking him in the middle of our lineup, you know, that makes us extremely dangerous offensively. And, you know, I went through this last year. You know, I played second base, shortstop, left field, center field. You know, and it might be more of the same this year, which, you know, I have no problem with that. I just want to play, be on the field somewhere, and help the team in whatever way I can. And, you know, I think, you know, these next couple weeks I might be playing a little more outfield. You know, might move back to second base at some point. But I'm not sure. I imagine I'd play all four of those spots, you know, over the course of the season.
Now, you're certainly a team-first guy, and you'll do whatever best helps the team in terms of the positions, and you are a utility man. But what do you think you're most effective at position-wise, and what do you enjoy the most?
You know, my bread and butter is always shortstop. That was my favorite position growing up. You know, I think that has the most action. I like the aggressive mentality you can have at shortstop. And, yeah, so that would be my favorite. I don't know what position I'm most effective at. I'm sure they have like StatCast numbers for that now, but shortstop was definitely the most exciting for me.
We're chatting with Chris Taylor out of Virginia Beach's Cox High School in the University of Virginia. He was a 2012 fifth-round pick by the Seattle Mariners, but he's now playing with the Los Angeles Dodgers here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Got 11 home runs and 42 RBIs this year with the Dodgers. And Chris, going back just briefly here for last year, playing in the World Series, how big of a thrill was it for you, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty awesome it was an experience you always dream of, playing in the World Series, and you never really know how you're going to respond to it. And to get to that stage and perform at a high level, and I think it was just a great experience, and it really helps the confidence to know you've played at the highest level, and you're capable of performing. And I always thought if I got to the World Series, I'd be extremely nervous, and I never really knew how I'd react to it. But to finally get there and be able to maintain my composure, it was pretty cool. And unfortunately, we didn't get the result we wanted, and hopefully we can get back there this year and come out on top.
Chris, a question I want to ask you. We had Tim Kirchin on last week, and we talked about the shifting in baseball. There's been talk about trying to outlaw the shift, which I think is ridiculous. I think when you have players out there, you can play them anywhere you want. And if other teams don't, if you don't like it, then learn to bunt, hit opposite field, whatever. But you're a major leaguer, obviously. You're a player. You're a very good hitter, but you also field, and you play different positions. So I'd like to get from your opinion as to what do you think about the shift? Should it be outlawed, or is it no big deal?
No, I agree with you. I think you should be able to play your 9 guys anywhere on the field you want. I think hitters should be rewarded for being able to use the whole field. I think that's part of the game, and the advancements and the defensive shifts, and to take away hits. I think that's part of it. I do think it's a little ridiculous to have limits on where guys can play.
Another thought that people would want to know is, what's it like in a major league clubhouse? You got a lot of personalities. You got 25 players. You've got coaches, managers. What's it like? And then lead yourself in talking about that, playing for somebody like Dave Roberts.
I think what makes us so good as a team is our clubhouse and the environment we have there. Dave Roberts does an incredible job making everybody feel comfortable, and he's extremely positive, probably the most positive person I've ever met. Each and every day, you make sure he says hello to everyone, has a conversation with everybody in the clubhouse, and just relentless positivity all the time. And, it's refreshing as a player to know your head coach is confident in you, and he's always got your back. And then, we have a good group of players, veteran guys in the clubhouse. Chase Utley is probably the most professional guy out there, and just the way he goes about his business, being able to play with him and watch him every day, it's an extreme honor. First one of the field, last to leave, the ultimate competitor, and then, guys like Justin Turner, being able to talk to those guys each and every day and watch how they go about their business, it's definitely helped me grow as a player and be a better teammate as well.
Hey, Chris, my final question for you. Matt had some rapid fire for you. Did a little background check on you. I understand taking you way back, Great Neck Middle School, you win a city championship in wrestling. All right. So now my question too, and I think your father and your grandfather were wrestlers at the University of Virginia. And of course you went to Virginia Tech. Now, I don't think you wrestled at high school.
Went to Virginia.
You got to mix it.
Right. No, I'm saying Chris went to UVA, but did dad and uncle and grandfather, I'm saying, they went to Virginia Tech, correct?
There you go. Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Now, could have been, if we go back and change everything, could Chris Taylor if he stayed with wrestling today, be a WWE superstar?
Well, those are two different sports for one, and they'll be the first to tell you that. But no, I don't think I could have wrestled in college. It just wasn't a sport I had a passion for. I always knew I wanted to play baseball. And you gotta be some kind of tough to wrestle. I don't know if I had it in me.
Well, Chris, we thank you so much for coming on the program. Before we let you run, can you do some rapid fire with us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. Some think fast on your feet questions for Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers out of Cox High School in Virginia Beach and the University of Virginia. Here we go. Favorite Major League Baseball player growing up was?
Ripken Jr.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Ripken there. Now, Ed mentioned the wrestling love. Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
I didn't watch WWE.
Really?
No,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Two different sports, yeah.
Right.
Well, let me throw a question in to replace that. Who was your favorite Major League team growing up?
The Orioles.
Orioles. You got to with Ripken there. All right. Dodgers blue or home whites?
Home whites.
Home whites. Okay. Coolest teammate?
Chase Utley.
All right. He goes with Mr. Utley there. Toughest pitcher you've had to hit? Who's be the toughest pitcher you've had to hit?
Probably Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. Yeah, he's tough for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Last two for you. Favorite visiting ballpark to play in?
Fenway Park.
Ooh, likes going to Boston there, Fenway Park. That's a nice one. And then finally, you're trapped in a foxhole. Who would you want in there to dig you out?
Who would I want to dig me out of a foxhole? That's a weird question. I don't know.
Matt's been known to throw those weird questions out at you guys.
Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that.
All right. Well, tell you what. Next time we get you on, we'll get you to think that one. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Chris. Best of luck with the rest of the way with the Dodgers, and hope to get back to the World Series. We appreciate your time this morning.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
That is Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers with us this morning here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1, and having a great career, a young career here with the Dodgers. Only at 28 years of age, so you figure he's going to be around. He turns 28 August 29th. But you figure he's going to be around for quite a while, and being able to play multiple positions makes him such a staple with that team.
Big. That's the big thing. When he mentioned about changing his swing a little bit, it's got him to stay because he was bouncing between Seattle when he was Seattle up and down with the Dodgers early. But playing multiple positions, and the key about playing multiple positions is he's good at them.
Yeah, he is.
And he's because a lot of guys will play multiple positions, but it may hurt their batting average, or they don't really like doing it, but they won't say much because you want to stay in the show. You don't want to be going back down to the minors. So you do whatever it takes. You catch, throw an inning if I have to. You want to stay in the major league. But he seems to thrive at that. And, the trade with Machado, now it makes the Dodgers stronger. And I don't think it's just because of Machado, yes, but now they can play Taylor some different positions.
Yeah, and he's playing shortstop. It looks like that's where he wants to be, too. So there you have it. One more segment to go. Phone lines are open at 757-687-9494. Give us a call at 757-687-9494. We've got an interview with Shawn Wilson coming up next, and we'll take your calls, any questions you have, right here on your home for sports throughout the state of Virginia. It's ESPN Radio 94.1.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Saturday Morning Sports Talk here on ESPN Radio 94.1, brought to you by VirginiaPreps.com. Speaking of VirginiaPreps.com, the owner, the CEO, the head dishwasher, the head janitor of that illustrious website, recently spoke to Shawn Wilson, the head coach of the Salem Sun Devils, their expectations of the season, which are always high at Salem High School. And we're going to hear what Matt had to say with Shawn.
All right, here with Salem head football coach Shawn Wilson. The Sun Devils getting ready for the 2018 campaign after making the region championship a year ago. Coach, let's briefly recap of that. Had a lot of young guys, got to a region championship, lost in overtime, heartbreaker to Nansemond River, but you guys were better at the end than the start, which is always the goal for a team, right?
That's always the goal, man. We try to play on Thanksgiving week, and that means it's somebody's championship. So, we play a lot of young guys. We got a lot of them coming back, so I'm happy about that.
We did our video show last week after the show, and I said, and I don't want to put too high expectations, I said you might have the next Kevin Willey level back at Salem and Kalon Black. He's gotten a few offers here. We've seen him out here today make a lot of good cuts and runs. What makes him so special as a talented running back for you guys?
First of all, he got great grades, 3.6 grade point average. He's a hard worker. In the weight room, I think he's benching about 340 right now. He just does all the little things. He does all the things right. So he's a great student athlete. That's the most important part for us at Salem High School. And he just has the speed and the strength and the vision, and he's going to be a good football player for us. I mean, I compare him to Kevin Willey.
And he's shown that ability and potential as a freshman and sophomore, but I think, and I'm not with him every day like you are, but I get the sense that now going into junior year, he's a guy that's going to be that leader, and guys will follow him as you guys get ready for the season.
Yeah, he's a silent leader. He's a silent leader. He does everything the right way, so those guys see that and they try to follow his footsteps.
Defensive, I think you got a lot of key parts back on all three levels, but one of the guys that sticks out is Jeremiah Brown for you at linebacker. Had a pretty good season last year in 2017.
Yeah, Jeremiah's going to be a 3-year starter for us. He's a team captain on defense. We got a good linebacker core. Got to work on that deep front. So we'll be fine. Got a good secondary. We just try to get everybody playing together and gelling together. And come November playoff times, I hope we're ready to go.
Yeah, and last year you lost, I believe, an all-state guy in Tayshawn Rooney at the back. And was that something you wondered about? Maybe you're a little ahead of schedule in the secondary going into this year. And it's been a strength of many of your programs going back to Kempsville and Green Run days, even too. DB guys.
I think we got a little upgrade right now with the guys that we have. So they've been working hard. We lost Tayshawn Randy. Each year we lose somebody all-state, DJ Davis, Tony Davis. So we just keep rebuilding, man. That's what we do here at Salem.
Maybe that new guy that could maybe step into that role is the guy that's a newcomer coming from Kempsville, Vincent Murphy for you. Plays some safety, plays some wide receiver. Could you see him some quarterback? What are you seeing out of him as he's adjusting?
He got great size. He got great range back there at free safety. We're just trying to get him caught up. And, he played in different systems, so a little different. We do things a little different here. But he'll be fine. Great athlete. We'll get him up to speed.
A couple more for you. He's got a brother at defensive end who's a junior for you, right?
Xavier Murphy. Yeah, he's been doing pretty good for us also.
Defensive line, is that the area you want to see as you go into camp, how those guys progress? Because you lost some key guys up front, Dwayne Platt, Rashawn Lewis, Terrence Joseph, that kind of the area. Some guys that are playing at Virginia State, I believe, and some other colleges.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the area you want to see as a staff? What do we have there?
Yeah, that's what I want to see. So we got Isaiah Henderson coming back. We got a couple of guys that played, but they didn't start. So they was playing some backup roles. So it's a good thing they come in, and now hopefully the next couple of years you'll be hearing those guys' names. You know what I mean?
Quarterback spot, Maury Morrison's back for you. What are you seeing out of his development?
He looked good today. He looked good. We got to get our pass protections right. He did well throwing the ball. I'm a little impressed with that.
And final one, you guys don't run from anybody. You got out here and you play teams like Indian River and Lansdowne. It was Senator Winter Beach last year, Western Branch, others that are good. In the scrimmages, you got Oscar Smith. What are the things that you're going to harp on as you get ready for the game one of the season and try to get another deep playoff run Thanksgiving beyond this year?
Just playing fast and playing physical and do your assignments. Play fast, play physical, and do your assignments. I think we'll be fine. Don't listen to your dad. Go home, talk about the Cowboys, and try to run the Cowboys defense. We run Salem stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing we're trying to get straight here.
That might not work too well these days, the way Dallas is defending. So, not to hurt the Cowboys here. That's the Juice Man, Shawn Wilson. Sun Devil should be fun this year to watch in 2018. Thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
So safe to say Salem will not be running the Dallas Cowboys defensive alignment this morning. We're talking to you on High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. That was Salem coach Shawn Wilson. Ed has got to the region championship last year, and they're going to try to get back and perhaps further, but they will be not playing Dallas Cowboys style defense.
I kind of like that what Shawn threw in to tell his players, you got to listen to what we're telling you. You can't worry about what Daddy got to say, but if you want to talk football, talk about the NFL with them. He's trying to get a point in to eliminate the noise inside the helmet of the players in terms of just focus on what we do and what we ask you to do, and we can go a lot further.
Yeah, and you look at what Salem has, Kalon Black at running back, who figures to be among the better running backs in the area. They pick up a new piece, actually two new pieces, with the Vincent Murphy kid from Kempsville, who's a nice new shiny toy for them in a sense that he can play multiple positions. We heard just what a big deal that is in baseball with Chris Taylor last segment, and Murphy can do that for them. His brother's at defensive end. And look at Salem's schedule with me, Ed. Let's take a little peek at it here. as they open up against, wouldn't you know, Vincent Murphy's former school, the Kempsville Chiefs, who have the longest losing streak in the state right now in Virginia High School League football. They come to Salem. Then 6 days later, Salem goes to Princess Anne, which is no longer a pushover. Remember, they got to the playoffs last year, lost in the first round to Nansemond River on the road. Got to replace Darrell Jones, who's at Maryland, but they have Tony Grimes, who's one of the premier sophomores in the state and the country at defensive back. Also got a good quarterback in Zay Roberts, who is a multi-sport guy, basketball, football, PA. Moving along, then it's first Colonial, new coach there at Ocean Lakes, then a bye week at Kellam, at Lansdowne, Tallwood, at Bayside on a Saturday, which could be a real barometer game for both of those squads as the postseason nears. And then they close up at home against Cox and Green Run, two pivotal games. They lost to Cox last year for the first time in a while, and they have Tavion Robinson, and Green Run's a rivalry game. So your sense the Beach, we sort of teased last week that the Beach Championship, in your eyes, could be that Cox Ocean Lakes game, but Salem might be saying, not so fast, my friend. Look out for us. Week 4, them and Ocean Lakes could both be 3-0.
Yeah, I'm listening to that schedule. Of course, it's the typical Beach schedule. Just how they're lined up, because everybody's going to play the same teams.
No, there's only 2 teams that play an out-of-district game in the Beach. Cox plays Granby, and it's at home September 7th, while Princess Anne plays at Maury September 7th. Right. But that's it. I wish everybody had one out-of-district game in the Beach. That would be my one big wish.
Yeah, you'd like to see the idea of some variety there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and something I've always said is you should play a league schedule. In other words, play the people. But when you in football, where you only got 10 games and you have 10, 11 teams in the district, if we do that, it takes away the variety of playing.
How fun would it be, though, if we had Ocean Lakes Oscar Smith, Bayside Lake Taylor, Salem Indian River, go down the list. We mentioned the Princess Anne and Maury game and the Cox Granby game. I mean, you could throw up more. You could have a Lansdowne and a Deep Creek. I mean, you could have some neat games out of district. Throw up perhaps a Tallwood and a Grassfield. There could be some real fun games if the Beach was given every team one out of district game. And then they all played 9, so you would have a 9-game. Now, the thing is, who do you not play in your district? That's just the oddity with it being 11 schools compared to 8 in the eastern, 10 in the southeastern, the Peninsula Bay Rivers. So that's where we sit. But I think Salem's going to have a very good year. Got a chance to watch them up close and personal this week, and they're a physical team. They fly to the ball on defense. They flow to it well, and then they have a standout running back who isn't the only weapon on that offense, but he's certainly a marquee one that people are going to have to deal with, or they'll be in trouble for sure. I got a couple minutes left. If you want to hop in here, give us a call at 757-687-9494. You can hit us up on Twitter, too, at HS Sports Talk 941, HS Sports Talk 941. It does not look like Tiger Woods is leading anymore. Like he's fallen off his co-perch or his, what do you say? It's not co when you got 5 people you're tied with. It's like, not try, it'd be 3. What is that? Your quad perch, I guess, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a quad perch.
Or quintum, something.
Somebody's hitting out of the weeds here.
Yeah, the British Open going on all weekend long. And Ed, we're looking at the football season's literally a month away. We're looking at 4 more weeks, and we'll have some games on tap for high school football around the state of Virginia and Hampton Roads. That first weekend of games, you got the Beach District in action. You got some out-of-district games with teams from the Eastern and the Southeastern. Oscar Smith has a big showdown at home on the 25th against West Forsyth from North Carolina. And so many good ones on the docket. You can watch the Sports Talk Plus video show. If you missed it last week, we outlined our top 10 games to see. But you're in basketball mode 24/7, 365, and you got Summer League playoffs next week, right? You played Lansdowne, is it, on Tuesday night at Heritage?
Yeah, and it's Tuesday night. They were in the playoffs. We're down.
It's quarterfinals Tuesday.
Quarterfinals, yeah. Opening round is done.
Well, Monday there's a couple more, I think. I think Hampton and Bethel and some other teams are playing.
Yeah, you might be right. And then as of Tuesday, we're down to 8 teams, and then 4, 2, and, of course, eventual winner.
And the semis and finals are Wednesday if you want to go mosey on over to Heritage High School in Newport News and watch. Ed, are you coaching in these games? Or are you just observing from?
There's been a rumor that it looks like I'm trying to do some type of coaching in there. So
you got the whiteboard out and the marker, the magic marker?
No, we have misplaced the board. We haven't.
Oh, you misplaced or did you break it? There's a big difference between the two.
No, we now have unfortunately, I broke some boards in the past, so now we
Not you. You wouldn't do that.
We have, well, they're made cheap. Now we get ones that are made of rubber, so I can't break them.
How many boards have you broken in the past? What would you put the number
in my
at?
career?
Yeah, what would you put the number at? You've been coaching how many years?
Dang, 50.
No, not quite. You're not. You mean you were coaching at 6?
I started coaching at 6. I'd say I've probably broken about 10 boards.
That music means we're out of time. We thank
What?
all our guests.
What?
The playbacks you heard with Shawn Wilson of Salem, Dontrell, Leonard of Churchland, and Donnell Brown from Hickory. We also had on by phone Mike Murphy, new coach at Jamestown, as well as Carlos Martinez, the first-year football coach at First Colonial. We can't forget about, we thank him so much for coming on during his busy MLB schedule. Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers from Cox High School in Virginia Beach and UVA. If you missed any of the program, you can hear it on VirginiaPreps.com later in the week. We thank our producer-engineer, Thomas Simmons, working hard on the other side of the glass.
Thomas.
I'm Matt Hatfield.
And the coach, Ed Young.
We'll talk to you next Saturday, maybe from Virginia Wesleyan. You
Let's
have to
hope.
tune in and find
Let's
out. It's on your home for sports. What is it?
ESPN Radio 94.1.